All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Tyler McGuigan, your host for Studio A. And this is a segment we'd like to call Studio A Interviews from Home. We figured since we're all stuck at home now, no one can really, not many people can work. We figured we'd do an interesting thing where we contacted some alumni and, do an interview with them. First off, right now we have Dani Horbiak joining us right now, who graduated Marist in 2017. So right before I got to Marist. Well, welcome, Dani. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure thing. Well, like you said, I graduated Marist 2017, so I've been out for 3 years now. When I was there, I studied TV film production, like a lot of the people in MCTV did.
Hmm.
And while I was there, I was really involved in the club. I had a show that I directed, which was a game show outside the box, and I was also the vice president. So this is a club that is very near and dear to my heart, and I am so glad to be back. You guys can't get rid of me that easily.
Yeah, nice. So, during this dreadful pandemic and quarantine, what have you been doing during all this to have fun and keep yourself busy?
Well, I am very lucky. Right before everything got shut down, I had just secured a staff position at a visual effects company in New York City. It's called The Molecule.
Hmm.
Basically, any kind of computerized effect that you see in a movie where maybe it's a green screen or an explosion, or maybe they just don't like the color shirt that the actor's wearing for whatever reason. They'll send the shot to our company and we will clean it up, send it back, and then it'll go to air.
Cool.
So luckily, I've been able to be working from home. Our company kind of just got a work from home setup done just as things were getting kicked off.
Nice.
So I moved back home with my parents, but I've been lucky enough to keep working this whole time. And it's definitely been a challenge for sure. It hasn't
Hmm.
been easy, but I work 10 to 7 on that, and then try to take a walk. I'm in the suburbs now, so it's been really cool to just hop outside, go on my skateboard, or just walk around the neighborhood with my parents. Besides that, I got Animal Crossing on the Switch.
I've
Been
I've heard a
enjoying
lot about that game.
Yeah,
Many people in the club have been talking about it.
yeah. Yeah, all of the nerds are kind of uniting over Animal crossing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely
Exactly.
one of them. Besides that, I've just been watching some TV, catching up on some Netflix,
Yeah,
writing
me
a little
too.
bit, and sleep. Lots of sleep.
Nice, nice. So how has working from home been? Have you like encountered any obstacles while doing that? And how have you worked around those issues?
The first issue that I encountered was my setup for my computer. I had an awesome computer that I built with some friends a few years back. I used it for
Mhm.
gaming, but I was working on like a rickety old table that you might put snacks on for the Super Bowl. I don't, you know those like a tray.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
that was my setup, and I
Oh.
had this that I needed to be putting on my desk.
Oh,
This is a
wow.
Wacom drawing tablet um, for work. So
Fancy.
the first thing that I needed to get over was the fact that my work setup sucked. So I moved back home with my parents. Now I have a giant table in the basement all to myself. So
Cool.
that was number one. Um, Number two is even though my job is very technical and I spend hours just sitting on my computer, basically doing like Photoshop, but for each frame of the shot. So it's very detail oriented work. And normally during the day, I'll be able to get up, talk to my coworkers, go to the kitchen, get a drink, see people, and communicate and have that feeling of being in an office and kind of have a camaraderie there. And I
Hmm.
don't have that anymore. It's me in
Yeah.
the basement by myself. Sometimes my brother will come downstairs and play his Xbox behind me. That's it. That's the only socialization I'm getting.
Yeah.
So that has been hard.
Hmm.
And it's something that I didn't really notice that I needed so much because a lot of the time people talk about how cool it would be to work from home. Number one, no commute. that's been nice.
Mhm.
Number two, saving money on the commute and having more free time. But I do really miss going into the office and getting out of my house and just interacting with people. I miss
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah, I do. I understand what you're saying. Like, I actually kind of miss going to class
Yeah.
because it just like it's nice to be able to do some things online, but kind of like you, I'm just in my bedroom all day doing work with
Mhm.
little to no human interaction, and like I only see my family for like meals and stuff, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. You just
Yeah,
kind of shut
so
up in your room until you go eat or you have to go to the
mhm,
bathroom. So it's been hard for
yeah,
sure.
I
That's
really
been a hard aspect of it. But I think even bigger, and this is something that is relevant to everybody that's trying to go into the film industry in general.
mhm,
Film right now shut down totally.
yeah,
Nobody's filming anything
nobody's
for
doing anything.
obvious reasons. Yeah, so it's going to be quite a while before we get back into anything.
Mhm,
And not just because it's not an important industry that people need, like shopping and
mhm,
food and whatever else. But also, you think about the scheduling that has to be done in order for any film to get made. Think
yeah,
about Tom Cruise's schedule or
mhm,
Scarlett Johansson's schedule. They have things planned out precisely for months to years.
yep,
So you look at any kind of project that was shooting, and are they going to be able to pick up where they left off? Most of those
yeah,
people have probably already signed on to do other stuff.
yeah,
So
you're
there's
right.
that
It's
you have to look
crazy.
at, and then also booking locations and renting gear and all. It's going to be a mess coming back.
Mhm,
So that's very scary.
mhm,
And then also for anybody in post, we have to wait not just for people to start filming again, but the footage needs to be shot. Then it's going to go to a post house, and the
yeah,
post house is going to edit it, get their cut done, and then they're going to send that to us. So even
mhm.
after they start filming, it's going to be a long time before anything comes to my office.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. I didn't even think about that because, like, right now, people working in post-production, they can still do work if
Mhm.
everything's shot. But, the film industry is it's like a cycle. It's a constant cycle. Things are always being shot, but now everything's halted.
Yeah.
So even if people can still get back to work, soon, people in post-production they're gonna start, not having jobs and, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So right now, my company is still working because we had a lot of projects that were
Mhm.
still coming in when things closed down. Some shows that were already in progress, and we're working on Dickinson. If you guys are
I've
watching
heard of it, yeah.
we had a season of that was already in the pipeline, and I think we're finished now. So that's one
Mhm,
project that's done. We have some other projects that were just coming in when everything was ending, so that's still going on, and we're going to have that for a while.
mhm. Okay.
But at the same time, companies can't keep all of these artists on when they don't have enough work.
Mhm.
So they kept their core staff unit, which has been awesome. But there are a lot of freelancers that are no longer with us.
That's
Their bookings ended and they're gone. So all of those people are out looking for work, and our work is going to dry up at some point too.
mhm.
So it's messy, but I'm lucky that I'm at home with my family, and I know, I've got a support system to help me through it.
Yeah, well, I really do hope everything works out for you.
I'm sure it will. There'll just be a few scary months where I'll be doing a lot of
Mhm.
reading,
Yeah.
a lot of walking around, kind of waiting for things to bounce back. But they will. I know they will.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm sure. And you also have to think about, like, people seeing the movie too. It's gonna be a while before we even, like, after all the after all, like, post-production
Mhm.
wraps up on the films that are being made now, we might see, like, a decline in, like, movies being released too.
Yeah, nobody wants to put out a movie now. They're
Yeah.
gonna get zero
Especially
dollars
since
back for that.
with these things, like, I heard about what they're doing when they're gonna open up movie theaters. They might have, like, people spread out more, so that means, like, less tickets being sold.
Ooh, yeah. Can
Yeah.
you imagine how romantic a date would be? sitting here,
Yeah.
sitting here,
Trying to put your arm around her.
real far, yeah,
Yeah.
real. It's gonna be weird, and it'll definitely be disrupting our industry in ways that I think a lot of people haven't even thought about yet. But one thing is for sure, and that's everybody loves movies and loves entertainment. And
Mhm.
even, in times of the Great Depression, you still saw people going to movies. So I think
Mhm.
once things do bounce back, whether we
Mhm.
get some kind of cure or we get more testing out, I think everything's going to bounce back and be just as strong as ever.
Mhm. Yep. The show must go on.
Should, and it will.
Yeah. Well, to end on a lighter note, what was the club like during your time at Marist, or just the college in general?
Yeah. Well, when I first got there, my freshman year, Lowell Thomas hadn't been renovated yet.
Mhm.
It was still a nice building, but it looked kind of like a prison, just a little.
Yeah, it's kinda like how, Dyson looks like right now.
Yeah, a nice prison.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so I remember when I first got there, I remember touring Studio A, actually, and I was still blown away. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But then I think within the year they had finished renovating the building and the studio had been completely redone and it looked state of the art. I mean, I had never seen a real TV studio before, but I figured it was close to this. So
Nice.
I was blown away when I got there, and I was really intimidated at the beginning because I was a little freshman twerp and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was very scared. And I didn't really get into the club for maybe 2 semesters, so I was a little bit behind. Um, but I was just so fascinated by it all that I knew I wanted to be involved, and I slowly just kind of wriggled my way in. There was
Mhm.
nobody running for secretary one year, so I was like, I got that.
Yeah.
Somebody was looking for a director for one of their shows, and I was like, so. Even though I was really nervous going into it, I stuck with it because I knew it was what I wanted to do for my career someday in some form. And just kind of threw my ideas out there, threw my hat in the ring whenever people were looking for leadership. And by the end of it, I was vice president and having a great time. And, I knew as many people in the club as I could. I'm hoping that there's some seniors out there who can look back and say, yeah, Danny helped me out, or Danny got me excited about this because I do really love seeing new people come into the club and get excited about it. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
so
cool.
glad I could talk
Well,
about it.
I definitely have, heard a lot about you from the seniors, so it seems like you made quite the impression on them.
That means a lot. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
And I think it would be really good, for the freshmen to hear, what you're saying right now. We like, just like this past semester and the semester before that, we've had a lot of freshmen who were, they were kinda, like, scared to, show up because they were worried about, like, messing up and
Mhm.
stuff, and they felt like they didn't know how to do all the positions.
Yeah, it's intimidating.
Yeah, it can be, but I think, once you learn it, it does get easier, and once you realize that it's okay to mess up, then I think that's when people start getting more comfortable.
I certainly messed up a lot. So if
Yeah,
I can do
I
it, you could
I
do
certainly have. Yeah, as the host of this show, if you've
it.
ever come to a Studio A shoot, you'll see a lot of mess ups.
But that's what's fun about it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
You do that
exactly.
for a job, it's not so fun. But
Yeah,
it's really fun to just go in the studio with your friends, have an idea for something that you want to make, and then do it. So,
mhm,
yeah, I'd say if you are somebody that wants to get involved in the club and you're a little bit nervous, it's totally understandable. I think most of us here who, Zach, everybody that's been in the club for so many years now, I think they can all say,
mhm,
yeah, I was kind of nervous going into it, especially when you see so many people that are all really close and they all seem to know what's going on.
yeah.
A lot of them still don't know what's going on, and I
Yep.
think that's kind of a cool part of going to college and experiencing something new.
Mhm.
Even if you can find one person in the club that you feel comfortable with and can go with them and know that they're going to be there, I think, that's a little something that can help you feel more comfortable.
Exactly, yeah. And you should never be afraid to ask for help either. Like,
Never.
I know
Please.
Zach will always, Zach will always help me when I have a question. I know I've had many questions for him
Zach
about
helps me to this day too, so you're not alone either.
he forgives me everything, but yeah. Um, well, thank you so much, Danny, for taking the time to talk with me.
You're
Uh,
so welcome. I had such a good time.
Yeah, me too. It was really great to hear about, what you're doing after Marist. I think that's what's so fascinating about talking with alumni, you know,
Mhm.
hearing about, where they end up. So yeah, it gives us a little positive attitude about Marist and this club in
Mhm.
general.
Even when things aren't going so well, I think everybody in the industry still kind of has positive outlook on it, and they
Hmm.
can take it on the chin.
Yeah. Well, here's to hoping that, things get better soon.
Cheers.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Um, yeah, and so we're gonna have probably all throughout this quarantine, we'll try to see if we can interview other people. But for now, this is Tyler McGuigan for Studio A interviews from home, and we'll be right back.